Kaiserklein here saying GG. Now keep in mind this is an artifact from the previous game, so we're not actually seeing Kaiserklein say GG in this game, but we are indeed seeing Kaiserklein on the French spawning in on the southwest side of the map, starting off and sending out his native scout immediately to go get those yaks. We're going to turn off Fog of War just so that we can see all those yaks dotted around the map. Very, very difficult to see. We see the first one being picked up, and Kaiser also picking up the Mongolian scout, which you do get on this map, you do start with, and also picking up a 50 food treasure. So great start for Kaiser. Let's take a look at his opponent. Spawning in on the right of the map, on the east side, we've got Knuschelbär playing Japan. Knuschelbär playing the Japan. He's got his market that he's putting down. So this is something that we actually saw him do with the Tory Gates build, and a yak being snagged away at this point by Kaiserklein as well. So Kaiserklein got a lot of units out on the map at the moment. A second yak over here. So he's already picked up 2 yaks. Let's go watch from his perspective. Why can't I hear any volume? Okay, there's my volume. I had volume all along. It was just that the volume... oh my god, that was loud. Oh, speaking of loud, give me a second, guys. I just need to fix up the in-game sensitivity, because there is an error where your sensitivity gets carried over from the record game, and players that have got higher sensitivities make it difficult for players with lower sensitivities to cast their games. So we've got Knuschelbär, looking like, let's take a look from his perspective and see how much of the map he's uncovered. So he's uncovered a fair bit of the map, also with the cherry orchard. So in addition to having the is he going to pick this one up? He could have picked this one up if he was watching. But Kaiserklein just really doing an impressive job getting all these yaks. I wonder, are we going to see him put down a potential livestock pen? We do have a trading post going up in the north of the map. Knuschelbär also picking up a few more yaks. There's a couple more left. Not really a lot though. There's 3 yaks left, all towards the north of the map. The south of the map has been pretty much explored. But one of the interesting things is, with Japan, you're starting off on berries, okay? You don't need your cherry orchard gosh, that's hard for me to say. Why is that so hard for me to say? Rickshaw. So we've got the cherry orchard oh my god. We've got the... Okay, we've got that unit, and then we've got 2 explorers, and then we have the native scout as well, the Mongolian native scout. So we've got 4 units that are potentially collecting yaks, and as a result, you can see on the mini-map, he hasn't uncovered a huge amount of the map, but he's got a huge amount of yaks in his base. So we can have a look. He's got 5 yaks, and then from Kaiserklein's perspective, how many yaks has he picked up? He's picked up 7, and just picking up, I think, an 8th now. Is that the 8th yak? That is the 8th yak. So as far as I'm aware, 8 yaks is the critical number of yaks that you need to actually drop a livestock pen. Someone did the math. Someone big-brained it. Oh, there's a 9th yak. Is he going to pick up the 9th yak? Surely he'll go there. But now we've got a bit of a treasure contention happening. It's always a little bit later on this map as people are vying for the yaks. But those bears, look at the bears, how far they've run. These bears. Yeah, man, you came to the wrong neighborhood. Knuschelbär, get those explorers out of here. You definitely came to the wrong neighborhood, but Knuschelbär opting for a relatively quick age up time here. We've got a shrine that is being placed in the middle of the map. Here it is. That's been put down. We've got the 2 settlers coming out and a heavenly kami. But I do suspect if we go into Kaiserklein's perspective, is he going to scout? He hasn't actually scouted this, so he doesn't really know what Knuschelbär is up to. But opting for a 14-ville age up. Look at the amount of idle time that he's got right here. Moving his yaks, deleting 1 yak. We see he wants to avoid this idle time. It's a fair bit of idle time, probably close to 7 or 8 seconds, I would suspect, of idle time. But at the same time, a bit of a fight going on. 80 wood treasure just north of the base, so a nice little treasure pickup. Puts the age up in queue. We've got the quartermaster, unsurprisingly. And at the same time, we've got the Tory Gates going down from Knuschelbär. Do we see 300 export in deck? Still no 300 export in deck. He's really not a fan of this Lil Bow build. So the Lil Bow build, where you go 300 export after your 600 wood. He just doesn't even include the 300 export in his deck. So now, taking off the line of sight makes it so much harder for me to track, but I know that you guys like it when there's no line of sight. But we've got the market going up for the French player, Kaiserklein, researching gang saws. He's also picked up this trading post, found himself the 8th yak, so he's got 6 yaks sitting under his town center, and the 7th yak is coming in now. So he's eaten that 1 yak, so probably won't see him going for... I'd be surprised to see him go for that... go for the livestock pen, but it isn't out of the question. And looking like he's moving up to the trading post. Okay, so he's probably going to be opting for something a bit more orientated towards the stagecoach. Dropping down, let's have a look. Oh, what is this villager? You naughty villager. You've been caught. You've been caught red-handed. Kaiserklein going and putting out a cheeky villager. Now, I wonder if Kaiserklein is playing a little bit of mind games. At this level, you really have to suspect people are probably playing mind games. Why would this villager be out here to build a forward base? So how would Kaiser... and Noosh knows that, okay? Noosh now sees this, and he's like, oh my god, he's sent his villager out, and he hasn't realized that he's on a shrine. It's too late. And now he sees it, okay? Now, he could have just been hurting. He could have just been hurting. But it definitely did look like it was going to be a forward vill. We see the second villager coming out as well. So is Kaiserklein sort of like feigning a little bit of aggression here? Torii Gates is out. The Samurai is out as well. A little bit of mistiming here. Barracks still not going down. Barracks finally going down. 600 wood in queue. Kaiserklein is up as well. 4 crew to bars is his first shipment. He's got that 400 wood underneath his town center. The barracks is going up behind this. Steel traps has now been put in queue. He has not forgotten steel traps like some players unfortunately do. It can be an expensive upgrade that you want in the early game. But interesting to note, he's moved all of his villagers off coin. So is he going to be opting for crossbows and pikes? Are we going to see crossbows? Are we going to see pikes? I suspect that we're probably going to see pikes. It's crossbows. There you go. Always keeping us on edge. But Knushelbär are really making an effort to make sure that the Explorer from Kaiserklein is being tracked down, is really being kept under control. He knows that he's got 2 trading posts, and he said, well, if you want to go for 3, that's fine, but I'm just going to keep watch. I'm just going to keep watch, and that's exactly what he's doing. Now we see the Ashigarus beginning to get trained, and at the same time, we've got the crossbows that are almost complete on the other side from Kaiser. So a little bit of a delay in getting those Ashigaru out, especially 5 minutes 32. And they're only about, what, halfway done? Yeah, about halfway done. So we've got the first batch of units out now. 5 crossbows. Probably going to head to the north side of the map, try and help defend the Explorer, because the Explorer is going down. And Knuschelbär was probably going to be sending his Samurai. There you go. There's that Samurai up to that north side. And we're going to see... If he gets snared by this Samurai, it's all over Red Rover for the Stagecoach dream. With sending 700 wood, there is a dream at the moment for Stagecoach to be reached. But he's just not going to be able to do that. It looks like instead, Kaiser opting to begin sieging with his crossbowmen on the shrine. Probably not the most effective unit to be sieging with. But nonetheless, 700 wood has been sent from the home city. Explorer is now fighting off the Mongol scout. Let's take a look at Knuschelbär. Knuschelbär's got 4 villagers on the way. Training some Yumi archers. Are the Ashigaru moving out across the map? They are indeed. We've got 60 population at the moment. This is an awkwardly placed shrine. You're going to be saving yourself a bit of time because the opponent is going to have to eventually kill this shrine. But it's almost like you're donating them a shrine. Say, here, have this shrine and give me 30 seconds. And so it's a little bit of a trade-off. Now, Kaiserklein needs to be very careful of his Explorer. Let's take a look and see if we can spot that Explorer. We can see the line of sight. Kaiserklein about to lose his Mongol scout. And I suspect we're going to see Kaiserklein actually... Oh, did he see it? Did he see the Explorer? He's tracking this Explorer down with just absolute presence of mind, really not forgetting about this. We see 600 coin incoming behind from this. So do we see a stable dropped yet? We don't see a stable, but we do see the consulate being allied with the Japanese. So Japanese isolation. Oh, Kaiserklein doing a little bit of the sneaky. Knuschelbär not paying enough attention. At the same time, he's got people sieging. He's got pikes sieging. And the Explorer finally going down. Now keep in mind that's the Torii Gates that Knuschelbär's got. So it means he's going to be getting extra experience from taking that out. A little bit of macro... You'd think this might be an issue, but it's really not, just because the 600 coin is coming in. We've also got the shrines on, but a little bit of a fight starting to break out. How many crossbows have we got here? We've got 16 crossbowmen. Now, that right there is only 8 crossbowmen, so we've got 8 from the home city that have been shipped in. They have indeed. They've gone to the wrong side of the coin mine, though. And we've got a stable. We've got an Age 2 stable. This, to me, indicates that Kaiserklein's actually quite keen to fight in Age 2. He likes his chances against France. And I'm just going to take a quick sip of my juice that I've got. Just because I feel my voice getting a little bit raspy, but at the same time, we've got a Samurai that's sieging with his 5 Ashigaru buddies. Let's take a fog of war. Alright, that wasn't too bad. That was quite a big swig. Oh, that's delicious. That is absolutely delicious. So, for Game 3, how's it unfolding? We've got Kaiserklein, who's got 8 idle villagers at the moment, just hanging out. He's obviously focusing quite heavily on the north side on the battle. But this is looking like Kaiserklein is really putting baby in the corner at this point in time. Samurai needs to be very careful. Samurai takes a swing, but immediately Kaiserklein is moving that back. Finally cleaned up now by the crossbowmen. Crossbowmen are pushing these Ashigaru into the corner. They're not going to be able to escape. There are Hussars chasing them, and we see the single Hussars being peeled off and just being told, you know what, go and deal with this. You go and follow it. But now the 700 coin has arrived for Kaiser. He's picking this one up, eating some of his yaks now, so looking to reach the fortress age. So just training a handful of Hussars, not really worrying too much. Somebody asking, how much money do they get? So the winner of this show match is going to get $1,000. Second place is going to get $500. Huge mass coming out from Kaiserklein. I would definitely say the tempo is in his favor, and a huge bit of miss macro right now. 22 villages. Okay, there's coin on the ground. That's why there's so much miss macro. I'm sitting here wondering, why is there so much miss macro? Volume gone. Volume should not be gone. Volume should still be here. But Knuschelbär looking like he's in an absolute great position at this point. Now, keep in mind, fellas, this is a battle right now for $1,000. If these players wanted to, they could be picking Sweden, but they're not. They're picking France. They're picking Japan. So playing like real gentlemen at this point. And we've got the age up in queue now. Age up in queue for Kaiserklein, looking for about a 10-minute age up. Going to be going up with the Exiled Prince 99% of the time. In fact, you know what? 100% of the time going up with the Exiled Prince. There would never be another option that they'd be taking. And it looks like a couple of Yamabushis being donated here over to Kaiserklein. So Noosh definitely doesn't seem like he's on his game today. Behind this, let's have a look and see. Noosh really isn't macroing for an age up. He's got 1,500, 1,600 food in at the moment. Noosh, just take these villages, just put them over here, buddy. That's all you gotta do. The siege still happening. Just absolutely getting pop blocked. Very curious build from Noosh. One of the things that we do typically see is Noosh seems to be getting pop blocked a lot with his Japanese games. I don't know if that's just a way that he plays where he sort of neglects wood or he doesn't use his market enough, but getting off a nice good raid here with his Nagis. He's got 5 Nagis, 7 Nagis out on the field now, and some Ashigaru behind the lines as well. So really, like this is like the bulk of Noosh's army right now. On the field, he's got 11 Ashi and 7 Nagi, and 5 of the Ashi here. Minutemen being called from the bottom hand side. It looks like Kaiserklein's actually going to be able to sandwich him here, but a couple of the Nagi getting away, really placing an emphasis on focusing down these Ashigaru instead. So really just sort of counting his losses, but Kaiserklein appreciating that these may come in and kill my coin miners, and so just avoiding them. Behind this, we also see the 4 villages coming out from Knuschelbär. Let's have a look and see what Kaiser's up to. He's in the second age now, and he's making Dragoons, and he's sending Dragoons. So going to have out a mass of 10 Dragoons at this point. Actually, no. He's decided to go with the Skirmisher composition instead. Going to get out 7 Dragoons, an absolute beautiful number of Dragoons. Probably enough to one-shot the Nagis. They've got 300, so roughly, what is that equivalent to? About 390 hit points? Compared to the 26 times 3 damage. So let's do some quick math on the fly. That's 78 damage that's coming out. So he needs to do 390. So how many would he need to do for that? 7? Would 7 be enough? I feel like 7's probably enough to one-shot a Nagi at this point. I don't know whether that's mathed out. Let's actually, we're about to see what happens. No, go back. Oh, I thought we were about to see it right there, whether it was going to be enough to one-shot them. But I guess that is a story for another day. I suspect we're going to see these Courier de Bars just all enter melee combat with the Nagi. No, we're not. We're going to see the Dragoons come over. And are they going to get out the one-shot? They do. They hit it with 3 HP left. So you're pretty happy when they one-shot, aren't you? Feels good, man. And so more Nagi. Now heading to the north side of the map, we've got this French explorer. Kaiserklein completely abandoning the trading line at this point, just saying, you know what? The early game was my opportunity to get the trading line. I haven't got it. My opponent stopped me from doing that, and as a result, it means I'm not going to be going for it anymore. So a couple of these Yamabushis chasing back Kaiserklein's explorer. And now the army begins to move out across the map. Probably going to be doing a bit of idling. Not a lot of siege here. Curious to see whether we're going to see 2 Falconets as the next card sent. We've got 8 skirmishes from the home city. So it's interesting that despite having such a large mass, so we've got 16 skirmishes. I guess it looks quite large because we've got 6 Minutemen. So that was 16 crossbowmen, rather. And then we've got 18 skirmishes. So 10 or 8 coming in from the home city. I suspect after this, we're probably going to be seeing the Falconets come in. Probably not opting for a Cuirassier switch, just because the opponent does have quite a fair bit of Nagis out at the moment. Wow, that is a lot of Nagis. How many Nagis are we talking? That's 12 Nagis. That's quite a big amount of Nagis. But now idling, we've got the age up in queue going up to the Shogunate. This is going to provide a daimyo. to him, which is going to be able to buff. And he did actually try and send the daimyo from the home city, obviously cancelling that one out now. If this Rax goes down, he's not going to be able to upgrade any of his units from the barracks. So he's got the 10 Yumis, as well as the 8 Ashigaru. One Explorer down. No one's really moving out. We've got the Dragoons that are moving across the map. The daimyo comes out, looking like it's relatively safe, though. We've got the experience in. Are we going to see a shipment come in as well? And we're running vills. We're moving. This is it. This is it. This is do or die right here. We've got villages. How many villages have we got in the back here? Oh, let me have a look and see if I can count. I can't count them because there's so bloody many. There's 33 villages on my screen currently. And we've got Minutemen being called, being able to snare the skirmishers on the south side. The Dragoons moving to the north side. How many Dragoons have we got here? We've got 15 Dragoons from Kaiser, 3 Cuirassiers being shipped, and a cav switch that is happening right now. Nothing else in queue. Literally going 100% cav switch. Really putting Knuschelbär in the corner for the second time in this game. And the question is going to be, is he going to be able to finish him off? Have we got Knusch? Knusch is shipping in the flaming arrows. He's not getting disciplined Nagis though. Despite being able to afford it, he could be getting it. And the Yumi archers just really aren't being able to compete right now. A couple of villagers getting picked off at only 150 HP, not having their medicine upgrade. And a really tough spot here for Knusch. I'm curious how he's going to actually get himself out of this. The daimyo here as well. Not shipping the flaming arrows to the daimyo, instead shipping the flaming arrows down to the town center. So out of position, and definitely going to be losing a lot of villages and a lot of units as a result of missing that shipment point. They should have been up here on the front line, taking these shots at the opponent, but we don't see Kaiserklein actually opting to send 2 Falconets from the home city. He very easily could have. There's a French scout standing on top of this, and Kaiserklein Knuschelbär tried to put it down, and Kaiserklein managing to get a couple of volleys off now. So really Kaiserklein being quite cheeky with this scout, and Knuschelbär recognizing that and saying, you know what, I'm just going to build my barracks right here. But I suspect we'll probably see him try and revive his explorers, get them over here. Wow. Okay. I genuinely don't know how he managed to pull that out. I guess it came down to the flaming arrows and not really having an answer for the flaming arrows at the moment. I think to defeat the flaming arrows, you're obviously going to have Culverin, or you're going to need probably something a little bit more like Cuirassiers. So we've got the first batch of Cuirassiers out on the field. Do we have any more? We've got skirmishers on the way. We've got Cav Combat coming in. Do we see Cav Combat? No, the 2 Falconets are what are coming in. I would have expected with... Oh, Drongo. Your brain is so big, Drongo. So now we've got the Cav Combat coming in. 15... we've got 15 Dragoons, as well as the Cuirassiers, which are out down sieging. So how much population space does Knusch have? Not a lot. It's floating a little bit of resources. 1,000 food at the moment, despite having military production buildings that he could be utilizing. So a fair bit. Is he going to be looking at going for an age up? No, he's not. He's going to be training more units. So Yabusami coming out here as well. So these are a little bit cheaper. I'm not sure exactly why they're cheaper. There's probably a tech that I've missed somewhere. But also the Dragoons now being able to take out the Yamabushis. We've got the Yabusami and the Yamabushi. So very close. And finally, that native scout getting picked off. There's an explorer. There's the explorer right there. So the explorer coming back and clearing out that native scout finally. Knusch did not forget about it. Oh, there's the native scout. Apologies. Just watching him go down. I heard it. So what do we see? What's our next shipment? What's the shipment progression for Knusch at this point? And my suspicion is at this point, we're probably going to be seeing... We could see a double flaming arrow come out from him. Otherwise, maybe an Ashigaru attack. He will know that a cav switch is potentially coming. And as a result, he may have to switch into it, but we only see 7 Ashigarus here, so really not a big deal. Probably intervention, actually. Now that I think about it, he'll probably go intervention. And intervention is going to enable him in this position to get the Yamabushis. Am I saying that right? Yeah, these are the Yabusamis, the Yamabushis. From the home city for the consulate, incredibly well against Cuirassiers. The Cuirassiers are going to have a tough time dealing with these Yamabushis, just because of how much damage they're actually putting out. 13 times 5. On-hand cavalry. That's a lot. That is a lot of damage. We've actually got Culverins coming out from Kaiserklein. I did not expect Culverin. Wow. So really respecting those flaming arrows, obviously appreciating that there may be a potential for flaming arrows that he's got to be dealing with. So we did actually get the Cav Combat shipped in. 3 more Cuirassiers, 37 villages. Let's take a quick stock take. 43 villages. Now keep in mind that the French villages are much stronger gatherers than the villages of the Japanese. So this number is probably closer to around 48 at this point. At the north of the map, we've got a pikeman beginning to siege down a shrine. We're probably going to change off Knuschelbär's perspective because that's going to be sieging for quite a while. But the 2 falconets being trained. In addition, do we have the 2 falconets that have been sent from the home city? Not yet. So we've only got 2 falconets, 2 culverin, and a whole bunch of units coming in. We've got dragoons out on the front line. Need to be careful not to get picked off by the Yuumi. One of the dragoons does go down. And at the same time, we've still got that pikeman sieging away with his explorer. Let's head into the line of sight. Let's see what we can spot in this perspective. So not a lot. I think that at the moment, I definitely favor Kaiserklein in this engagement. The culverin are really just going to mitigate any form of Oh, the culve's actually taking off a shot, so revealing that he has those culverin. I'm not sure if Noosh was aware of that, but I definitely think that there was an advantage to be had, and that advantage was just thrown away. Now, keep in mind that on the opposing side, we do have the Yabusamis, which are very effective at dealing with culverin and with falconets of the opponent, as well as with the cuirassiers. So now we've got the flaming arrows. Look like they're in a pretty bad position. I don't think they're going to be able to get out of this one alive. First culverin shot goes off. 15 health left on the flaming arrow. We don't. It looks like there's a bit of a block going on. The first flaming arrow now going down. Unfortunately, getting blocked there by the Ashigaru. We've got a whole bunch of Yabusami, so indeed intervention being called from the home city. And now the units are moving in. We've got Nagis on the front line. We've got 14 Nagis, but we've got Yuumi on the back that aren't doing the firing that they need to be doing. Kaiserklein definitely looking like he's in a much better position. Microing these cuirassiers just absolutely perfect, and he's donating his Yuumis. He's literally just sending his Yuumis forward. Probably an attack move issue right there. A huge attack move issue, losing about probably close to 10 Yuumis at that time. But despite that, managing to push back Kaiserklein, despite the donation. We've got a bunch of Kolbs that are just really sitting here, being ignored until the end of the fight, finally going down now. But we've got the Yabusamis, 50% range resist, so the equivalent of 480 HP. And again, it looks like some donated Yuumi archers are about to happen. Let's take a look and see what's happening. So we've got the 7 skirmishers coming in. The Yabusami is just doing absolute work, picking apart these cuirassiers. I really like this combo, Yabusami and Yuumi. It's an amazing combination. Both of them being archer units. Yabusami having a very, very high rate of fire. And let's take a look in on Knuschelbär. Still being attacked at the north. This is so frustrating. Every time we come in and look at Knuschelbär, it's going to be doing that little horn that we hear. And so now we take a look and see what he's sending. He's sending Way of the Bow from the home city. Does he have anything else that he's really sent? Nothing else. Maybe Intervention, which we did mention earlier. But the Nagi's now coming out. But they're going to be met by this mass of Dragoons. And Kaiserklein made 15 Dragoons. And that's it. He's got 14 Dragoons now. He's only lost 1 Dragoon throughout this. So despite having this really big mass, Kaiserklein, got to be careful. Oh, then a bit of a miss micro coming out from both players here. I would say that the Dragoons weren't close enough to the Skirms, but the Nagis just sort of stood still for a little bit. So, unfortunate for both players, but very even scores at the point. Even though I would say, I feel like at this point, Kaiser is somewhat playing a bit more, a bit better. I don't know if better's the right word, but it definitely looks like a favorable position for Kaiser. Ashigaru now picking up the first and the second Knuschelbär. So Kaiserklein losing a couple of villages to these Ashigaru. Ashigaru staying in ranged mode, not in melee mode, and dropping the forward arsenal. Interesting spot for an arsenal. Curious what upgrades we've got. It doesn't look like we've got the cavalry cuirass coming in. We don't have counter infantry rifling yet. We don't have ranged cavalry caracol in yet. So maybe we've got some of the upgrades for the artillery. Let's take a look. No HP upgrade because we don't have advanced arsenal yet. But it could be something to do with line of sight, potentially. Maybe Gunner's Quadrant. I do love my Gunner's Quadrant. Always try and get them in. And finally, Knuschelbär going in and dealing with this pikeman and saying, stop it. Stop it. So back on the perspective of Knuschelbär, we see that Nagi hit points is on the way. So maybe we're going to be seeing a potential switch into full Nagi. At the moment, we've got 14 Yabusamis and 20 Yuumi. I really like this 3-unit combo. This is very nice. Dragoons, I really like these Japanese Dragoons. These are growing on me. Are these S tier? Do we make these S tier? I think we do. But now the Nagi's moving in, not really having a formation, just getting picked off completely in the trees. Skirmisher mass is really beginning to grow for Kaiserklein at this point. So Kaiserklein up to 35 skirmishers. It looks like a couple of them are going to get picked off by the Nagi, but not before the Nagi run back down to 34 skirmishers now, and Way of the Bow is in. We see the Way of the Bow, 20 range for the Yuumi archers compared to the 20 range of the skirmishers. So now Kaiserklein really needs to work on taking down this mass of Yuumis. And by the same token, Knuschelbär needs to be producing a lot more units. So now we've got the Yabusamis looking like they're going to be able to take off this Falconet. Falconet really just out of position by a mile here. Yabusami's just doing work. And Nagi's out, really just getting picked off by the Dragoons. So do we see those Dragoons? We still see 14 Dragoons. Kaiserklein just impressive control here. The second Falconet now moving out onto the field. We've got some Yabusamis that are just sort of standing. I think they might be in cover mode. They are indeed in cover mode, just because of how slowly they move. And a couple of Yabusamis being donated. Are they in no, they're not. Okay, so an attack command just probably not going through. But now the Daimyo on the front line gets absolutely shredded by the Dragoons, and Knuschelbär is definitely on the back foot. Too few units on the field at the moment. Too many donated units, unfortunately, to Kaiserklein. And it looks like Kaiserklein is going to be able to come out on top here. Push Knuschelbär back. But definitely an action-packed game, I would say, at this stage. The real question is going to come down to these Falconets, and whether these Falconets are going to be able to survive with the Yabusamis. The Yabusamis are just so good at picking them off. We've got more Nagis in queue, and a second town center now coming out for Knuschelbär. So he's up to 50 villagers. Compare that to the 40 villagers of Kaiser, and I'd say things are about even. Now keep in mind, Noosh does indeed have resource generating houses, but he's only got, sorry, let's go check his perspective. He's only got 18 of them, so almost maxed out, but these aren't to Shogu shrines, so they're 0.31, so I'd probably say that at the moment, Knuschelbär is actually a little bit ahead when it comes to the economy. So not doing too bad and managing to hold his cherry orchard, dropping down quite awkwardly. And Kaiser doing a good job of cleaning this up. Do we have any upgrades coming in yet? We don't have range cavalry caracol coming in yet. I suspect we probably would have the cuirass coming in, but it doesn't even look like we've got that yet. Still no ranged infantry rifling or cannon infantry rifling. You don't really need it at the moment because Ashigaru aren't on the field. Another batch of cuirassiers about to come out. I suspect that's what we've got. Do we have... It's something to do with cuirassier health. Yeah, it's cuirassier health. Unless we've already shipped cuirassier health from the home city. No, we haven't. Okay, so it was the cavalry cuirass. 300 coin upgrade. That's why it's gone down. So now we've got the team ranged infantry attack coming in as well. Skirmishers in position. Only 32 skirmishers here. Falconet on the back line. Just doing a little bit of a bug out. And Kaiserklein appreciating that he may see a Nagi switch coming in from Knuschelbär. And just being very careful, adding a few more Dragoons, putting down a second stable on the front line. Just to reinforce. So he's got the second stable as well as the first stable that he started with. Double Dragoons and ranged cavalry caracol now coming in for Kaiserklein. Probably wanting to engage after ranged cavalry caracol comes in. It's going to enable a little bit more flexibility in his engagements. Falconet's going down, but the flaming arrows are really getting off their early shots. So we're going to see the micro away. We're not going to because the Falconets are retreating. But it doesn't look like we're going to be able to see the Falconets go down. But the Dragoons are pushing up. Boom. Headshot. Not really headshot, really. That was more of a body shot. It did about 50% of the health. So not a lot of damage coming out there. But now we see the ranged cavalry caracol coming in. 14 range being upgraded for these French Dragoons. And a lot of work being done here by Kaiserklein. But Knuschelbär beginning to pull ahead in score. And I would say I'd be primarily just attributing that to the Yabusamis. Yabusamis are just god tier. S tier when? That's what I would be saying. Behind this, 56 villagers, no villagers in queue. Relatively good macro coming out from Noosh at this point in the game. Some questions have been asked about Noosh's macro. Obviously doing quite well at this point though. And double cuirassier batch potentially being trained. Siege beginning to be laid down onto this stable. We've got 29 skirmishers now. No further skirmishes being made. We've got a culverin in queue. Culverin should be safe. Shouldn't have an issue getting this one out. I do have my questions about whether this cuirassier is going to be able to get out in time. I tell you what, at this rate, it's probably going to be able to get out. And I would be surprised if we don't see a very nice cuirassier pop right here. And Noosh knows that it's got potential. So he's just been very careful, sieging from the back and just hoping that there's nothing in queue. I'd be very curious to see, are we going to see cuirassiers just pop out right here? I'd really like to see it. I don't think we will, just because of the way that Noosh is posturing, or that Kaiser's posturing. Oh, the pop. Here it comes. Oh, it was on the other side. Baited. Get baited, kids. I don't know why. That would have been so amazing. That really just would have been destruction. Oh, I got baited hard then. But nonetheless, we do see the culverin coming out now into position, taking a shot at one of the flaming arrows. I think the shot actually missing because this is just from a falconet. Oh no, maybe this was from the culverin before? Maybe this is new flaming arrows. I'm not really sure what happened then, but that's definitely not the damage that a culverin does to a flaming arrow. So the culve's probably just missed, unfortunately, for the culve. So those guys probably got to get those gunner quadrant research. And now we see the culve squaring up and firing a blank. The culve fired a blank. Okay, the culve has actually fired, bugging out a little bit there. Microing it well, Kaiserklein is. Got to be careful not to lose it, but at the same time, we've got the Kurisis moving around down the south. But look at these Yabusamis, just so beautiful in mass, really dealing a lot of damage. The Yumi Archers coming out on top, 24 damage, 20 range compared to 20 damage, 20 range. And having about the same amount of health. So all really coming down to those upgrades that he sent. Has he sent those upgrades in from the home city? Let's take a look. He hasn't sent those in from the home city, but it looks like Knuschelbär is actually in a commanding lead right here, just simply because of the Yabusami mass. You can't actually make artillery against it, and Kaiserklein calls the GG at this point. If the stream goes down, don't worry, we will be back. We will be back. We will be back if the stream goes down. If the stream goes down, we're going to be back. And Harch is saying, I don't think he called GG. I don't think he called GG either. I think he's probably a little bit upset that Japan was being played in this tournament. But guess what? It's a show match for $1,000, and I want to see the best civilizations out, and that's why we've got Japan.